Hi there, I'm Camilo Escobar, JURÍDIA's founder, a law academy in artificial intelligence for lawyers and legal teams. We teach them the foundations of law in relation to artificial intelligence, that is, the legal foundations of artificial intelligence, of AI. Today I'm going to explain the relationship between the civil law, the common law, the legal must be the law, properly the law, the evolution, the well-being, and the artificial intelligence. And to start, we have to understand that it's not about different visions of law. It's not about different schools about law. It's not about different doctrines about law. It's about every part that could let the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist. So it's not about the so-called common law. It's not about the so-called civil law. And in general, it's not about other creation that tries to be called as law, that wants to be understood as the law, that wants to be understood as a synonym of law, as a synonym of the legal must be. It's about understanding that the law is only one because there is only one way to let the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist. Other thing is that there can exist different ways to apply that, to achieve that. I mean, there is only one way to let the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist because there is only one way to enjoy the rights and fulfill the duties because there is only one way to make sure that there is a right that is being enjoyed, and there is only one way to make sure that there is one duty that is being accomplished, that is being fulfilled. So there is only one way to make sure that a right it's being applied, it's being enjoyed. So there are different ways to apply those conditions, but the result is only one. The enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties is only one. That's the point. So there is only one way to obtain that result, and properly there is only one result about that. The enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties is only one. There is only one legal must be, because what must exist is that result, that achievement, that goal, that effect, that consequence, the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties. But there are different ways to achieve that. And that's why legal diligence means every behavior that achieves that. It's every behavior, each behavior, any behavior that permits to comply with the law, that complies with the law. It's any behavior, any action related to a human being, that permits the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist, that lets the enjoyment of rights and correlatively the fulfillment of duties to exist. It's any, and properly is any action that lets the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to be successful and properly to exist. Is any way to enjoy the rights and fulfill the duties. That's the legal diligence. And that's why when there is a legally diligent behavior, there is legal validity, because there is a fact that exists in a way that coincides with the law. And that is why legal validity means the coincidence between the fact that must comply with the law because it's related to what is defined in the law and what is defined in the law. That's why it's about legal validity, and properly it's about the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties, because there is legal validity when there is the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties. So it's about the law understood as a whole, because the law is the whole that defines how is the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties. Is the whole that defines all the conditions that must be attended, to let the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist. Is the group of conditions that must be applied to obtain as a result the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties. is all the conditions that must be applied to let the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist. So in relation to artificial intelligence, it's about knowing and applying what is defined in the law. So it's about complying with the law. And of course, due to evolution, due to the fact of evolution, it's possible to make simpler ways to achieve that. It's possible to make simpler ways to make sure that there is the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties. And that's why it's about the legally valid artificial intelligence, because it's the object, is the way to let, through that product called as artificial intelligence, a simpler way to let the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist. So this is why it's about the legally valid artificial intelligence, because it's the artificial intelligence that exists in a way that coincides with what is defined in the law. And that means that it's a product, it's an object in which, with respect to which there is the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties. And as a consequence of this, is a product through with its elements, the human being can achieve better, more efficient, easier ways to let the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties to exist. Properly, it's a product by its creation, that by its creation, due to its creation, lets the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties exist in a easier way. So it's a product through, by its means, the human being can enjoy the rights and fulfill the duties in an easier way. So it's about knowing and applying the law as a whole, tailored to the extent of each legal relationship. In this case, tailored to the way in which the respective facts of the respective relationship that involves an AI product exist, to make sure in that way that there is the enjoyment of rights and fulfillment of duties in that legal relationship.